Hey everyone, it's me, Ellery, and I am back with my recap and review for Insecure Season 4, Episode 6. So if you're interested, make sure you stick around and stay tuned. And while you're here, because I already know that you've been here before, probably a couple times, yeah. So while you're here again, make sure that you subscribe and then turn on your notifications so you don't miss any new episodes from me. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get into it. Carry on. All right, y'all. So this week's episode was not as impacting as last week's was. I mean, everybody was talking about Molly and Issa everywhere, all over the internet, social media, whatever. But this week's episode was still really powerful because it was like we were taking a look at life after Issa and Molly. So per usual, let me give you my quick and dirty rundown of this week's episode. So this week's episode was called Lowkey Done. And like I already said, it's pretty much just kind of following everything that occurred after the amazing block party that Issa had, but the major blow up that her and Molly also had. And Issa is really the only character that we're really following in this episode. So we're just kind of seeing her processing what just happened. Should I call her? Should I reach out? What should I do? And then you also see her having conversations with many people throughout this episode. We see her talking to her brother. He's just checking in on her. We also see the intern whose nose was constantly bleeding. She's calling and trying to just give Issa some follow-ups, some information that's been out there. And then she also asked about dating, I think, one of the vendors. So there's that. And then we see her having a conversation with herself, right? Like most of us do. Should I reach out? Should I do this? Should I do that? And in order to cope with those feelings, again, like most of us, she goes out and she finds some things to do. So I think in trying to find things to do, she's also trying to prove that she's not a selfish person. So she gives a ride to a stranger, which ends up being a complete disaster, but hilarious all at the same time. And then she goes to a paint and sip. She sits at a table with some random women that she doesn't know who left their alcohol. And she's like, well, let me know if you want this Pinot. Issa is so corny. Anyways, she ends up sharing her wine with them. They end up going out to eat, but then they end up ditching her because it was a part of their whole plan. Because one of the girls, who's played by Kyla Pratt, is actually getting married, and that was a part of their scavenger hunt in LA. So they end up ditching her at the restaurant and sticking her with the check. So at this point, it's like, whatever I decided to go out here and do just did not work. So where does that take us? Back to visiting our moms. And so she goes home and she visits her mom, played by the incomparable Wendy Raquel Robinson. And of course, in typical mother fashion, she, one, tries to feed her, two, gives her that good mom hug that makes you cry. And she also gives her some really good advice just about where her and Molly's relationship probably is at this time. And then she also just gives her that boost of confidence, that reassurance, that a lot of us tend to need, that only our moms or just people in general who really do love us can give us. Goes back home and she decides to do her self-care with a little that good. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you saw the episode, you know what we talk about. Also, finally answers to some comments on Facebook about the block party, which seemingly so were all positive. And then finally, like always, the munchies kicked in and she was like, I'm gonna get some Thai food. And if you are an Insecure fan, this is the same Thai restaurant that her and Molly would visit frequently, especially in season 1. And so she goes to get some Thai food. She's dancing all the way in and she gets to the door, and who does she see at the bar? Molly herself sitting there. And this is the greatest moment because it's like, do I or don't I? One, I'm hungry. And I was gonna go get this Thai food, but then I see you. Now I'm not so hungry. But do I still go get my Thai food? And when I come in, do I speak to you? Do I say something? Do I not say anything? Do I act like I see you? Do I wait to see if you saw me? What do I do? You can see she had all those questions going on in her head. She actually looks at her reflection, looks back, and then makes the decision to go back in her car. Because we already know that she's decided that I don't want to be the first one to reach out. I don't want to have to do this. And so she gets back in her car, and from there, the episode ends. So that was episode 6, Lowkey Done. I don't really have much to say about this episode. To me, it was kind of like one of those filler episodes, but it was also an episode that was needed because I had a feeling, and I think I said this in my recap last week, I really don't remember, that they were going to give us like the insight of Molly and the insight of Issa, and like how the two of them are processing, how the two of them are coping. And the reason why I say that is because that's been the track record of Insecure, which is one of my favorite things about Insecure at the same time. Like, yeah, the episode, I guess you could say, was boring, but I always like getting to see the point of view of the different characters. And these are two very important characters. I mean, season 3, the cover art was her and Molly. So you know that these are two very important characters of the show. So I think it's important that we get a point of view of both of them. The same way when her and Lawrence went through something, we wanted to know, well, what's going on with Lawrence? Where is he at? What's he doing? Where has he been? And so even though the episode, I guess you can say, was kind of boring, it was still a necessary episode, and it was something that was needed to see. I still haven't picked a team. I'm still Team Derek because I really cannot decide whose team I'm on. I think that they both have some very toxic traits that the other one just got sick of over time, and it is something that they just need to communicate and hash out. I personally do think that they can bounce back from it, and I think what's going to happen, in my mind, every world, take a trip. Something's going to happen with Tiffany in regards to that baby, and it's going to bring the whole group back together. I think that's what's going to happen. Because also, again, this was something that I pointed out in last week's recap, is that I think that Tiffany is suffering from postpartum. And in this week's episode, we saw that Kelly was at Tiffany's house helping take care of the baby and everything like that. Which, I mean, yes, that's what friends do. But I feel like they keep giving us like these little nuggets of like, pay attention to Tiffany and this baby. So I really think that something is going to happen that's going to bring them back together. I don't think their relationship will ever truly be the same, especially just because Molly got in her face. And to me, that's just the line before the line that you're not supposed to cross. So I do think that the relationship will never be the same. But I think they'll be able to bounce back and eventually be best friends all over again, or again in general. Better best friends is what I think. Because I do see that there's a really good change happening with Molly with her relationship with Andrew. And what I do like about Andrew is that I think that he holds her accountable. So anyways, let me know your thoughts. This is pretty much a very short review and recap because the episode was literally, it was all in one day on top of that. I think it was Self-Care Sunday. So let me know your thoughts. Leave me some comments below. Have you picked a team yet? Because I still haven't. I'm still struggling, and I really just want them. I want them at this point to not be friends at all or get it together. That's what I want. But who asked? Nobody. But that's why it's my channel, and I can tell you what I want. Anyways, leave me some comments below. Let me know what you're thinking. And until next week, I will see you all then.